Welcome to another episode of The Worthy Physician. I'm your host, Dr. Sapna Shah-Haque, reigniting your humanity and passion for medicine. With each episode, we bring you inspiring stories, actionable insight, and expert advice. Get ready for another engaging conversation that could change the way you think and live. As a physician, your income is your greatest asset. Protect it with Pattern Life, the easy, stress-free way to find the right disability insurance. With unbiased comparisons and no jargon, Pattern helps you to choose the best policy for your needs. Secure your future today at Pattern Life. The link is in the show notes. Let's dive in.
Spooky season was upon us and now it's gone, but let's go ahead and talk about fear. Whether in clinic or in our personal lives, we've all faced fear. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, fear of losing control or losing what we've built. But what if fear wasn't the enemy? What if fear was the doorway to something deeper? Maybe clarity, courage, or freedom? Sounds a little counterintuitive, doesn't it? We think fear as paralysis, as stopping, as avoiding a more complicated or challenging path. But let's break it down. Fear often shows up quietly. Sometimes it sneaks up on us. Sometimes it shows up as perfectionism, that extra hour tweaking a chart note or over-prepping for a case. Our mind gets the best of us. We spin our wheels more and more and more. Over time, it can become avoidance. The emails you never send, the conversations that are delayed, the decisions that are postponed. Now, don't get me wrong. There's an art to it. There's a difference between prioritizing and just completely putting it off. I'm guilty of both. In medicine, we're trained to try and control the uncertainty, but fear thrives in uncertainty. We measure, we test, we document, but we rarely pause and say, what am I afraid of? What do I fear? Not necessarily in the exam room, but the 30,000-foot view of life in general. What do I fear? For many physicians, fear hides behind achievements. If I achieve more, it means more, and that drowns out the fear. We fear being seen as weak or replaceable, but the truth is, it's like Voldemort. So, if you're a Harry Potter fan, you know. If you know, you know. The fear of saying the name only increases the fear of the thing itself. So go ahead, have the fear, but name it. What are you exactly afraid of? Speak it out loud. Talk about it. Sit with the uncomfortable feelings that it brings. Now, the logic of fear. It makes sense. When fear hits, the amygdala fires. It floors your body with adrenaline and cortisol, your heart races, your breath changes, your palms get sweaty, potentially you become hyper-focused. Your body literally prepares to fight, flee, or freeze. That's great if you're facing a natural predator, but today we aren't necessarily in survival mode. It's chronic stress. A lot of it might be centered around identity. Who am I if I fail? Who am I if I'm not the best physician? Who am I if I am not the perfect parent? Understanding that fear is your body's attempt to protect yourself or to protect you may help shift that narrative. What do I mean? Well, let's break down, first off, what you fear, and then I would say what triggers that fear, and how much time of your day do you spend in that state of fear. Again, let's frame it that it is to be something that will help keep us alive from a natural predator, so it should be short-lived. So, what does all this mean? There was a great moment in my early career when I felt paralyzed. As a new attending, it was challenging to not become a victim of imposter syndrome. I was in my early 30s, of course. Yes, I was told that I looked too young to be a doctor. I initially thought, gosh, that's a bit judgy, but looking back, I find it really complimentary. Maybe medicine has a way of aging us. After nearly 15 years of practice, I might find myself at points having imposter syndrome, but I recorrect that thinking by saying, I've been practicing for 15 years, and do I know everything? No, but I do know where to find it. So courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving through it because something greater is calling you. Something greater is on the other side. And I think that sometimes we lose sight of that. But it's easy to lose sight of human interaction or normal human emotions when we have patients scheduled every 15 to 20 minutes or need to be in two places at once. And if you listeners have found a way to bilocate, please let me know because that is definitely something that I am struggling with. And yes, that's a pot shot at humor. Now, let's talk about transforming fear into fuel. Fear can be used as a compass. If we trace it back, it often points to our deepest values. The fear of failing often hides a love of excellence. The fear of speaking up hides a value for integrity. The fear of losing control hides a longing for safety and connection. So when you name the value behind the fear, you can reclaim your power. The thing that goes back to naming what you're afraid of and maybe why. And it's not going to come up the initial time that you deep dive into it all the time. It may or may not. But just like anything, dissecting these feelings, these thoughts, these triggers, it's going to take some time. But if we can link them back to core values, it might help us point ourselves in the right direction. So here's a short exercise. Think of something you're afraid of right now, and then ask yourself, and if you don't have an answer, that's okay, what value is this fear protecting? Fear, when present, isn't necessarily always the obstacle. It's the invitation. It's the invitation to let's dance and understand this fear. What triggers it? What does it evolve from? Or from where? Why? And what value, what core value is tied to it? When I feel fear, when I express fear, what core value of mine do I feel is not present? So let's take a brief moment together. If you're driving, I would recommend that you do this when you are at a stopping point or in more of a sedentary position. If you can, pause and close your eyes. Breathe in deeply through your nose and hold for 3 seconds. Exhale slowly through your mouth and say silently, I can feel fear and still be safe. I can be uncertain and still move forward. You don't have to eliminate fear to act with courage. You may hold both at once. So just remember, fear is a universal teacher. When you stop running from it, it often becomes the guide that might take you to where you least expected, to authenticity, to truth. So to all those out there that still have pumpkins or Halloween decorations on their front porch or in their windows, because mine stay up all year round, have a great one. And remember, fear doesn't necessarily have to be the enemy. And even though spooky season is over, fear is what we let it be.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode from the Worthy Physician Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who'd love it too. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, for more updates and insights. Until next time, keep inspiring, learning, growing, and living your best life.